Hello, everyone. Do you recall any time in your life when you felt stuck in studies, in work, in personal relationships, or when your long held belief was challenged? You didn't know how to move ahead. And with a single shift in perspective, things changed. You started viewing yourself, others, and the whole world differently. That single moment of clarity is called a shift in perspective. I am Sunita Mukherjee. I'm 77 years old and I have a long career behind me. I started my career as a lecturer. So I'm a retired lecturer, a retired IAS officer, a retired international civil servant, and now a life coach and mentor. My life, my journey has been full of challenges, struggles, upheavals, and unintended outcomes, surprising outcomes. But one thing I have learned: perspective is everything. Shift your perspective, and your world changes. Let me begin with my childhood. I'm daughter of an infantry officer. My seventh class was my 13th school. My mother had decided that for children's studies, she's now going to settle at one place. I joined senior model school in class 7. My first experience was getting 0 out of 100 in maths, 0 out of 100 in Punjabi, and not doing well in other subjects. Change of states, languages, schools, syllabus all contributed to it. I was not much better in sports. I was called Gitti in school because I was the youngest. And also, I didn't know anything about the birds and bees. I had come from a protected army environment, cantonment environment. Now, suddenly, everything was open. Everybody was talking and saying she doesn't know anything. The teachers wanted to detain me. They thought in the March exam, I'm not going to pass. My father took me for swimming, and that became another storm in my life. He put his hands under my waist and he said, "Now swim." And he removed his hands. "Float." And I sank down. What he said, his voice echoes in my ears even now. He said, "You can never swim. You are too fat." I was never fat, maybe slightly plump. I was then 12 years old and a teenager, getting to be a teenager. But that remained stuck in my life throughout. Now I could accept their judgment or decide not to accept it. With my mother's help, I improved in academics. I went to Kanya Mahavidyalaya Jalandhar for a swimming camp. It was a 15-day camp, and at the end of 15 days, I was in the Punjab team going for nationals and the state university as well as nationals and inter universities. I joined college. I started participating in debates and dramatics. I became a sportswoman. I was an NCC cadet, rose to under officer. At the end of my college, I was awarded the best all around student, an honor given to selected few, very rarely. The defense minister from Government of India, Krishna Menon, came to give me the prize, and I was very flattered, very happy. This was the biggest shift in my life. Challenges do not put you down, they help to uplift you. Do you understand that? Challenges do not necessarily push you down, they help, in fact, to uplift you. Now I started dreaming. I was the best all round student of this college. I wanted to work in this college. My parents wanted me to get married and they were looking for boys. Luckily, they didn't like anyone. And I was allowed to do MA in English, which my father had done. And miraculously, I got a job as a lecturer in Government College for Girls, Chandigarh, where I wanted to teach. I was very happy teaching. I never thought I would do anything else. I helped in sports, I helped in dramatics, debating, and was like the students were kind of friends. They were little younger to me. But life is not always what we think it's going to be. My closest friend, Manju, was preparing for the IAS. I was helping her with some notes. When my principal saw this, she insisted, "You must join the IAS." I got persuaded. She retained my lien in government as a lecturer till I gave her the green signal. Once I joined IAS, I did not look back. I was allotted Himachal cadre. In Himachal, no woman had been given a district. That means no woman had worked as DC in Himachal cadre. After seeing my performance, I was the first woman to be posted as deputy commissioner. Everyone said a woman will not succeed. As soon as I joined, in the first month only, there were talks of my transfer. The CM laughed when I asked him. The Antoday program was started in Himachal, and our district was the lead district. The target was to achieve 20% in the first 3 months and then go on to do 100% in the year. We were covering the poorest families in the village and uplifting them through government schemes. Now, our district decided to do 100%. We achieved 98%. So when the CM came and saw we had done 98%, after checking and inquiring, he said we had posted a lady deputy commissioner and thought she would do her duty. She hasn't done her duty. She has, in fact, performed a prayer here. She has done a yagna here, and they have achieved what we never thought could be achieved. So, this was my second shift. Leadership is not about gender. Leadership is about vision, about your grit, about teamwork. That is what is leadership. Now, in the IAS, I was very happy. We were using government funds for benefiting the people and society. When we want to benefit otherwise, we find it difficult. But now you know all the rules and regulations and you can help a lot of people. I never thought I would leave the IAS, but greener pastures awaited me. I joined the International Civil Service in 1994, and I was the UNFPA representative in Sri Lanka and Maldives 6 years, Bangladesh 6 years, and in the Philippines for 5 years. Let me tell you of a life transforming incident in Bangladesh. As soon as I went, which is 25 years before today, as soon as I went, within 2 days, somebody from our office had jumped from the 15th floor and committed suicide. It was shocking. I was called back to pick up pieces of skull and brain of my fellow colleague. We were in deep shock, grieving, not knowing what note he has left behind, talking to his family, arranging his last rites. When next day I received a call from the religious minister summoning me to the airport to address religious leaders. 1,000 Maulvis had gathered at the airport and they wanted me to address them. I was reluctant. I denied. I said, I haven't presented my credentials to government. We are grieving. But all this was not heard, and the ERD ministry asked me to go there. So there I was in front of 1,000 Maulvis, white clothes, flowing beard, looking very daunting. I was escorted to the stage. I had gone on the condition I will not speak, but I was escorted to the stage and asked to speak. I said, I cannot speak to you. I don't know your language. In chorus, they said, speak in Urdu. So here I was. I switched to Urdu. I said, मुझे माफ करिए, मैं आप अल्लाह के भी करीब हैं, आप जनता के भी करीब हैं, दोनों जहान आपके हाथ में है, मैं आपसे क्या बात करूं? Oh, they refused to accept it. Meanwhile, I was getting into a state of panic. My heart was pounding. I was breathing deeply, not knowing what to do. They sat down and they were calm for a minute. There was silence. I didn't know what to say. Then a young priest stood up and said, tell us about HIV/AIDS. Nobody tells us about HIV/AIDS. Please tell us about HIV/AIDS. A shift happened. I stopped looking at them as powerful men of authority. I started looking at them as students craving for knowledge. So I said, all right, sit down. And I told them all about HIV/AIDS. This built such a strong partnership that for any of our programs, which was mainly maternal health or prevention of HIV/AIDS, for HIV/AIDS, the government was in total denial. That is no positive case around. We could make such a lot of difference. We could expand our program with the religious leaders, thereby proving sometimes shift in perspective, transformation not only changes you or your audience, it changes whole communities. The maternal mortality in Bangladesh, as a result of this partnership and the other measures we took with the government, fell drastically. And a major reason I could assign to that day. Let us look at history. Look at Gandhi. Gandhi, thrown out of a train in South Africa, a successful barrister, had a shift in perspective. What did he do? He came back to the country, met the masses, and decided that he would go lead a non violent movement for independence. It seemed impossible then, but see, it has been possible. A shift in perspective. Look at Buddha, a rich prince, happy in luxury. When exposed to death, disease, old age, he sought the route of enlightenment, left his family, newborn son, and preached the middle path. He brought about Buddhism in many countries. Look at Steve Jobs. Failure, come back to success, set up Pixar, set up Next, and then take Apple to new heights. Apple, which he had left one day. So these examples tell us, along with other examples, you know about Charles Darwin, you know about Newton, you know about the theory of relativity. These examples tell us that we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. And when we change, the world changes. I can think of the telephone. Telephone used to be an instrument. We would dial. Remember, telephone was an instrument. We would dial. We would book urgent calls, lightning calls, and stay around to get a call. You took a year to get a sanction of a phone. Now you can go and buy a mobile off the counter and keep your camera, music, even Google in your pocket. Right? So these are the changes in technology come out of perspective. Work from home, how did it come? Through the pandemic. Did we ever think it was possible earlier? Now Japan has done an experiment with Microsoft. 4 day a week they have introduced. And what has happened? Employee productivity increased by 40%. Look at the third sex. Same sex marriages being agreed at certain places. It's all change in perspective at certain places. I'm a regular life coach now, and I see this happening all the time with my coaches. One lady in America hated her job. She was an engineer. She hated her job. She didn't want to do engineering, but she continued. She had a daughter and she has a family. I asked her what does she want to do after she learned about her values, core values, her negative codes, her positive codes. She said she would like to work with the weavers in Jaipur, source clothing from them, and sell them in America. That's what she's doing now. She's running a thriving business. Another girl working for UN Women in Bangkok got married, had a daughter, but husband was in America. She was struggling all the time. She had a moment of revelation. She realized she would like to do PhD, which she's doing in Santa Cruz in the University of California. Very happily staying with her husband and daughter there. The lesson is simple. Once you shift your perspective, new possibilities open. And when new possibilities open, the world transforms. I will come back to my original question. Can you recall a moment when your perspective changed? Think. Can you recall a moment when your perspective changed? Because those moments, sometimes small, sometimes momentous, don't only shape us, they shape our whole world. They can ripple out and transform families, communities, and even nations. Because perspective is power. And when it shifts, the whole world shifts. All the best.